What's up, party people? This is Jude Mossberg here from Facebook, Jude's Junk, Facebook comic book shop and YouTube channel. And what's the fascination with certain books that just make some people revel, reveal, throw up, get disgusted? So-called controversial covers. We're talking about Blackface covers from the 30s. We're talking about Nazi Hitler covers from the 40s that have the swastika cover on it. I don't know if you can include Bondage as that's just a sexist, sadist type attraction. But there are covers, Swamp Thing 153 with the big Nazi symbol on it, that it almost feels like a whole younger generation just doesn't understand why you might collect that, or why you might collect comic books that have Obama on it, or Trump on it, or Biden, or AOC, or whatever, you know, because you have to like the person that is on there, and you can't have I actually have the last issue where Hitler dies in, and it's Sergeant Rock, I believe. Is that it? Maybe it's a different issue. But there's this fascination with, and you think, how do I explain this to a young collector who's like, oh my gosh, I would burn that, you know? I've just put up some books recently. What was on it? Was it Trump on it? And people are saying burn it, or books I put up with Obama on it, people are saying burn it, or, you know, the Swamp Thing 153. There's groups, some of the largest groups out there, that will not allow you to sell books on that offend people's sensibilities, like the Nazi logo, maybe even on some of the old Action comics, Superman comics. I don't know if the comic book group does not allow anything with a swastika on it, but I don't think they were thrilled about the Swamp Thing 153 9.8 that I sold on there, so I wasn't able to put it on there. But how do you explain, because people have been collecting these books forever. It's not because, oh, they love Nazis and everything that identifies with, or they love Trump, or they love Obama. I think with art, some art will make you feel a certain visceral way. Might make you feel love, might make you feel hope, might make you feel peace, might make you feel angry. But if there's a piece of art that just makes you feel a strong way, good or bad, then that piece of art reaches out and grabs you in your soul. So it doesn't matter whether you could be, you know, what's that? There's that, not Swamp Thing, Spawn 3031, where the guy's being hanged. Some people find that offensive or repulsive, and it could be why people are attracted to that book, because it makes them feel something. That's what I'm trying to say. And this is to a younger collector who doesn't know why someone would collect the Blackface, because you look at that and you go, people really thought that was like okay. A whole generation thought that was okay. White people on TV were dressing up in blackface, and comic books from the 30s. I got one that's a 1935 book, and you know, the wording they use, mammy, and it's actually a Christian book, which is even worse. And it's got I don't even remember, but it's just controversial and possibly offensive to many people. But I think that's it. I think it's the feeling. It's not like, oh, I'm going to collect all the Nazi paraphernalia books because that makes me feel warm and fuzzy inside. If it reminds you of a memory that was painful. Maybe you don't want to be reminded of a memory, and that's totally, maybe you don't want to be reminded of a bad memory, and that's totally fine. I get it. My wife's Jewish, so there are Jews that never want to forget the Holocaust, and then there are Jews that might want to forget it. Just like people that have been to war, they might want to forget it, and they might want to never forget it. So it affects everybody differently. And so that's the only way I can think of describing it, why someone might collect it. Now, someone might collect it purely because they want to turn around and sell it. And if there's enough buyers out there for it, and these aren't all white supremacist, hard right people collecting Swamp Thing 153. It's actually a book where Swamp Thing battles Nazis, and I'm sure he kicks all their butt. What about that? What is it? Detective Comics, where the Ku Klux Klan member is on the front of the comic book, and it probably emotes a feeling of disgust with a lot of people. But the storyline is probably Batman beating up Ku Klux Klan. So it's bringing out issues in society. It's bringing up issues. Comic books were doing this way before these issues have been brought up recently, with racism and different types of political agendas. And, they were bringing this stuff up in the 80s when people weren't talking about it. We didn't have the internet everywhere. Books weren't having this. Movies didn't really depict it unless it was rated R stuff for adults. But, kids' comic books that were bringing this to attention of 10-year-olds that, hey, racism exists and it's out there and it's alive and well in society. And if you were a young 10 to 15-year-old that maybe didn't think about that, maybe that book was introducing you to issues in society, and that might have opened your eyes. I grew up in Alaska and didn't really know about racism or different cultures clashing, because in Alaska the Inuit Eskimos are very abundant and everywhere, and I don't know, there's just something about being in Alaska. It's kind of a melting pot. You got the military, it just never felt like there was racism until I moved to Arizona and found out that the Native Americans there always fought with the whites in high school, and vice versa. So there's certain environments where maybe you grow up not being aware of that until you reach a certain age. For me, it was somewhere between 10 to 13. I wasn't aware of these kind of social issues. And comic books started bringing those to the forefront, because you may or may not have been learning them in school. So anyways, that's the only thing I can think of, is that why. Now, sure, could there be Nazis that just want to collect everything with a Nazi symbol on it? Even though every comic book that has a Nazi symbol on it is pretty much fighting Nazis, showing them as the bad guys. And so the fact that the symbol's on there, back in World War II, we would put that on comic books, and that was a war book to show that Superman's going to beat up the Nazis, or the invaders, or what's the guy? It's Submariner. Is it Submariner? Anyways, my 2 cents. What do you think? Some people like collecting these controversial things. Some people don't, and they avoid them, and whatever. But I don't think people should be getting upset that, hey, I want to collect, this type of controversial book. Now, I'm not preferential to the Bondage books. I'm not preferential to the girly books. I didn't even know Bondage comic books were really a thing until I think I found out about Key Collector, and they would start highlighting that, and I was like, oh, okay. Even though it was like a skeleton shackled or something weird, maybe that emotes a type of feeling of excitement and pleasure with some people. That's kind of gross to think of it that way, but I don't think the collector does. But that's not true, because people collect these girly magazines because they're sexy. And so anyways, it's interesting. There's controversial covers. There's different things that evoke a certain feeling, a strong feeling, and a piece of artwork can do that, whether the feeling is good or bad, I think it brings that piece of artwork to life a little bit. Anyways, that's my 2 cents on it, coming from someone that's been collecting 50 years. Let me know what you think. Happy hunting, guys.